Hello students, today we begin with chapter 8 of your Maths 1 portion, that is measures of dispersion. Now in the previous years, in the earlier classes, you have learned about the measures of central tendency. That is, you have learnt about mean, median and mode. You have solved sums also regarding these concepts which are there. But then these values which are called as central tendency tell us only about the central part of the data. They tell us only about the central part of the data, which is not very useful in all situations actually. They do not give us any information about the spread of data. Now let me explain this with the help of an example. Now for example, in this table, the data regarding 3 batsmen is given. X, Y and Z are 3 batsmen considered. So these are the batsmen. And these are the runs which are scored by them in 5 one-day matches. Okay, so they played in a series of 5 one-day internationals and they scored runs in all the 5 matches. And those runs are what are given in the second column over here. Now we consider the total of these runs and we also calculate the mean score of each batsman that is there. So as you know, each batsman, X, Y and Z, each batsman played in 5 matches. So n is equal to 5 over here. So in this case, n is equal to 5 and the total of each batsman is given in this particular column. So mean is calculated by dividing the total. So mean is given by dividing the total by 5. This is a calculation for mean actually. This is a formula for calculating mean actually. Now as you can see over here, the total for each batsman comes out to be 250 runs. And the mean, which is 250 divided by 5, in each case is 50. So just by looking at this data, we cannot say which batsman is more dependable. See, suppose the question is asked as to who is more dependable over here. Who can be given to play the next match, suppose. So who is the one who is more dependable? So just by looking at this data, just by calculating the mean of the data, we cannot understand who is more dependable. So mean is not sufficient to decide in this particular matter actually. So in this particular matter, what we do is that we see how much the data is spread about the mean value. What is the spread of data about the mean value? For example, take the first batsman, say X. X scored 90 runs in the first match, but then he scored only 17 runs in the second match. He scored 104 runs in the third match, but then came down to 33 in the fourth match, and the fifth match he went up to 66. What about Z? Z scored 112 runs in the first match, then he came down to just 8 in the second match, then went up to 96, then 29 and then only 5. Whereas Y scored about the same amount of runs, overall the same amount of runs in all the 5 matches, that is 40, 60, 55, 50 and 45. So if you look at who is scoring runs which are closer to the mean value, you would say that in the case of Y is scoring runs as equal to the mean value as possible actually. Whereas in the case of X, he is scoring runs, this batsman is scoring runs which are little less than the mean value, little more different from the mean value. Whereas in the case of Z, the number of runs which are scored by them are very different. So all this difference from the mean value is called scattering about the mean value. And one such measure of measuring how much the data is scattered about the mean value, scattered about the central value, is what is called as dispersion. I hope you understand this. So this is what is called as dispersion. Okay, now with respect to dispersion, we can see that with respect to batsman Y, the scattering of his runs, the scattering of the number of runs scored by him about the mean number of runs which are scored by him is quite less. On the other hand, in the case of X, batsman X, the scattering is more, and in the case of Z, it is very high, we can see. So that means what? The more dependable among the three is actually batsman Y, if we consider the measure of dispersion. So thus we come to the measure of dispersion. So how do we define this measure of dispersion? What is the meaning of this dispersion? How to measure dispersion or how to define dispersion? Okay. Now dispersion is, let me write the proper definition of it for you. So dispersion means the extent of scatter, in observations which deviate from the mean. In observations which deviate from the mean is what is known as dispersion. So the extent of scatter in observations which deviate from the mean is what is known as dispersion, which means it tells us the extent to which items may vary from some central value. For example, in the case of batsman X, about the mean value, his number of runs are quite different. With respect to batsman Y, they are little similar to mean actually. With Z, they are very much different from the central value. So in this way, we can say that dispersion is more or less very high, etc., as I've explained to you just now. So dispersion is also known as extent of scatter, spread, or variation of data that is there. There are two ways to measure dispersion. The first one is the absolute measure of dispersion, which has some or the other unit to the answer which is obtained. Absolute measure is in the form of range, variance, and standard deviation. Relative measure of dispersion is a second method wherein it is more of a comparison between two or more sets of data. Now in this chapter, we are only going to learn about the absolute measures of dispersion, namely range, variance, and standard deviation. So we begin with range. Now range is the simplest measure of dispersion. It is just the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. So we just take the largest value and subtract the smallest value from it of the given data, and thus we get the range of the data. So we can just say the formula for range is L minus S. So using the formula which we learned for range, we are going to try exercise 8.1 now. The first question, find the range of the following data. The data values are given over here. So we just find the largest value, that is L. So let us write the data over here. Largest value, that is L, which is given as, which from this data it is 45 over here, and similarly just near it you can see the smallest value, which is S, which is actually 7, and therefore the range comes out to be L minus S, which is simply 45 minus 7, which is 38. Likewise, the second sum. Again, the second question, same thing, the data is given over here. We just find L and S in this case. So L, the largest value from this data, it is 967, as you can see over here, and the smallest value over here, it is 250. So therefore you can find the range by yourself by doing L minus S. So this I am leaving it to you to find the answer. The third question. Now the third question is given as a table Suppose the table is not visible in the video, you can just go to page number 180 of your textbook and check it out. In the third question, the following data gives the number of typing mistakes done by Radha during a week. Find the range of the data. The formula is the same. Range is the largest value minus the smallest value. So in this case, the largest value, upon looking at the data, the largest value comes out to be, say, 21, this one, and the smallest value comes out to be 10. So thus we write the largest value and the smallest value over here. And therefore range is equal to, so this is the third sum which we are doing from here. So range is equal to L minus S, which is 21 minus 10, which is 11. It is as simple as that actually. The fourth question can also be solved in the same way. The question is, the following results were obtained by rolling a die 25 times. Find the range of the data. The score is given 1 to 6. Of course, while rolling a die, we get the scores of 1 to 6 and the frequency of the scores is given. Now, to find the range, we take the frequency, and the largest frequency out of all the frequencies is 7. So L is equal to 7. In the fourth sum, L is equal to 7. And the smallest frequency, as you can see, it is 2. Over here it is 2. And therefore S is equal to 2. And therefore range is equal to L minus S, which is 7 minus 2, which is 5. In the fifth question, find the range for the following data is given. Now, as you can see, over here, the frequencies are grouped actually. The classes have an upper limit and a lower limit. So, in the fifth question, only in the fifth question, we'll follow a slightly different method for finding the range. So, in this case, L is equal to, the largest value is the upper limit of the highest class. The upper limit of the highest class. So over here, the highest class is this one, that is 70 to 72. Let me mark it for you. The highest class is 70 to 72. The upper limit of 70 to 72 is of course 72. So that is our value for L actually. So in this case, it is 72. Similarly, S becomes the lower limit of the lowest class. Lower limit of the lowest class. Which in this case, the lower limit of the lowest class, the lowest class is 60 to 62 to 64, which is the first one which is given over here. And the lower limit of that is 62. So that becomes our S in this case. So it is 62. Now the usual method of finding the range, that is range is equal to L minus S, which is 72 minus 62, which becomes 10. So thus we have finished all the sums of exercise 8.1. So I do hope you understood the concept. We'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much for listening.